So you said that you had a DAO, and the DAO can vote on hiring a lawyer and responding to a legal challenge. So I just want you to walk me through how that works. So how would you respond to a legal challenge? First, how would you hire a lawyer?
Okay, so we have several DAOs, in fact, and I don't say, when I say we, it's not Dragon Chain does, but Dragon Chain launched social. That is essentially a content marketplace, right? In fact, even you have to understand this to kind of understand the context, but essentially it has evolved from a combination of Reddit and Slack or something like that, where people can get into a single community and do things. And it started as people would create these communities and they would have ownership, but it was, there was no investment made, nothing else. It was that there was some form of scarcity, and I don't want to bore you all with all of those details in the way that it works, but some form of scarcity, and we use that scarcity to create content marketplaces where somebody can make a post like you would on Reddit, and there is a marketplace surrounding that. And the beauty is these tokens are not tradable tokens, but they are scarce because they built up based on tradable tokens. So you're effectively participating in a marketplace to evaluate content. And we literally use these prediction markets to decide how much reward every piece of content gets. And they're all competing all day long in all these different communities. And each of those communities has this level of ownership. And we've essentially, and some of them treat themselves as it's like a club. Some of them treat themselves as, oh, this is just a channel, and I don't really think too much about it. We might vote on setting the banner or some of the branding of our group, but we don't really do much other than that. But then there are some that are actually actively involved in either doing things with NFTs or whatever else. So they all have NFTs that I won't go into all the details there, but they can vote essentially on very simple things. It's like, hey, we're having an event, and maybe it's a regional focused group that they're going to get what catering do we hire, that type of stuff, right? Well, because there's content in it, the whole thing is very flexible. That let's say your group uses SharePoint with Microsoft, or if it uses Google Docs, you could put a document somewhere and point to it and have the DAO vote on, is that document, I guess a simpler example would be, is that our community guidelines? And, say, I want to add a bullet to the community guidelines to ban anyone who says a certain dirty word, right? That you could put that up, they'd vote for it, and essentially it's official. So you could.
Let me jump in just for the conservation of time. I don't want to be rude, but I think I understand the point. So let's fast forward. So the ability to make decision by consensus is there. I got that. You decide to hire a lawyer, decided by consensus. Okay. What entity signs the retainer with the lawyer?
It's if you're in DAO, it would be the company itself. If you're in Wyoming, as an example, right? Now, if you're not in Wyoming and you don't have a registered DAO, then I don't know. That's new. You could figure what I would do. I would say that the smart contract itself, and some of this. I mean, this is actually great info because I haven't thought down this path, right? That essentially the combined multi-sig of all of the votes, because all the votes are cryptographically signed. They're all, we can, everything is on chain. Every single vote, every single comment, every single action related to that DAO is on chain. And in our case, it's provable to Bitcoin and Ethereum and Binance right now.
So let me just jump in one more time. And I don't want to be rude. I do have the proclivity to cut people off, but this is just for conservation of time because I have to leave in about 15 minutes. So, so I understand the consensus. I understand the decision. I understand the trail, the audit trail through the chain. But a lawyer wants an entity to sign the retainer. That entity would probably have to have a bank account. Some lawyers would take crypto, but you need an entity for recourse, because if the lawyer has to go back after you, they'll need recourse. So this is where the misunderstanding comes from. Go ahead.
The lawyer wants their money. In all truth, every especially in a crypto space,
not just money. Yeah. They want a counterparty to the contract.
Yeah, Reggie, I can tell you, I've done that. I've hired attorneys and represented DAOs, DAOs. Lawyers have to do due diligence on an individual or a company or firm or entity before they can factually represent them in our judicial system. So.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. If you would probably take the route of a Wyoming registered DAO, which is, if I understand, I'm not a lawyer. Also, luckily, so you would assume, and I think they're very close to LLC model, but that would essentially be the way that a lawyer in the U.S. would do that. Now, I don't know laws in other countries as well. Could you go to Mexico and hire a lawyer without having an entity? Probably. It's like they have the money, they could probably do it. If you pick on Mexico, I don't know these legal systems around the world, but that's the point. I think cryptographic signatures will be accepted in time. That if that's what you can get, then we know that people did this. So
okay, so I just want to wrap this up so I can let everybody else talk. So at this point, because you said that your DAO would be able to hire a lawyer, I think there's some confusion. Your DAO can make the decision to hire a lawyer, but in order to hire a lawyer, you have to find the contract, and the contract would be a retainer. There's a problem there, unless, as you said, you had a Wyoming DAO. But if your DAO is not a Wyoming DAO with an LLC wrapper.
Well, depending if and I'm going to take a step back, put your feet into the shoes of an attorney in the United States who is, let's say, friendly to technology. All right, because there are a lot of attorneys that are interested in new tech and do get into that. I guarantee to you that one of them would accept a cryptographic signature on a contract as a retainer, as long as they have the money to say that is good due diligence. I can say this group has signed this message, not on ink on paper, although that can even be done because the cryptographic signature, if I need to put that in my file cabinet, can be printed out. And that is, I would argue, stronger. And I think anybody would reasonably say that's stronger than an ink signature.
Okay. So I don't necessarily agree with that, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt just for the sake of argument, and we're going to step forward. So now that you've signed or you have a retainer, which most lawyers I don't think would do that, but it may happen. Okay, now you have a retainer. Okay, how does that DAO respond to order to show cause in court?
I don't know anything on that side, but I don't know if it'll matter. See, that's what I'm saying. You can't, if you ask me, okay, you can't force the tech into the arbitrary precedence of the legal world in the United States in a certain district. It is crippling. It is something that, and I think you probably would agree with me, if we're going to define tech primarily on what is legal, and I don't want to say we want to do things that are illegal, but we all know the issue is there is no definition in this space. So if we want to try to tie it back to the existing broken system, we're never getting anywhere, right? The point is we have to evolve and advance and fit the legal where it'll fit. They can adjust the laws in time. It's my opinion that most of what can happen in crypto can operate, especially with DAOs, can operate in what would be an alternate universe, which in time will get mapped into this real world. But if we start by saying, you know what, Bitcoin doesn't follow the law, it doesn't follow the way that the banks do stuff, it's like we can't do it.